That's it. How about we start? Some of you have joined recently because of the 2 retreats on the Chenrezig cycle. One is in Germany and one is in Louisiana, New Orleans. No, outside of New Orleans in the bayous, which should be amazing also. Even if you had the opportunity to go to both, there's no harm. Please feel free. This practice, and you're probably all at one point going to ask me, what the heck are the signs that it's working? You can write me if you have any doubt. But if you do the practice to look for the signs, it's going to make that more difficult. Just enjoy, rest into the practice as it opens for you, and things will occur. The point of this, of Chenrezig, a lot of times, is that we are often distracted or running so fast, or we react so much automatically to things, and we can get overwhelmed. And Chenrezig, when you practice enough to be able to rest into it, will just sort of take the volume down a little bit. If you're working with emotions, sometimes you want to leave the volume up. But even in that, sometimes it gets too loud, too overwhelming. And Chenrezig, it's an habitual practice. And it can be different every time. It certainly is when we do it in here. It can just sort of lower the volume on the overwhelmed or the reactive actions and allow you to be present with what's going on. So this cycle that Lama Lena is doing twice this year, one of the side effects can be there's a past life regression involved. There's Tonglen involved. Can bring up a lot of stuff. So if you've practiced this, you have a safety net to rest into if something does become overwhelming. I'm lucky enough to be able to go to New Orleans. I don't think I can make it to Germany. And you're always very welcome to contact me at any time. And if you're in these retreats and something gets too big. Okay. We'll sit and do this together, perhaps. All right. Enough preamble. How about we jump in? See what happens today. Any questions, by the way? Okay, good. Let's practice. I say what is meaningful to me as a refuge and intention for Bodhisattva prayer or Manla, intention path. Please feel free to say whatever you're comfortable with and has meaning for you. But before every practice, we set that intent, we take refuge, set that intention for true Bodhisattva to be a benefit to all beings, including you. You're a being. And then when we close, basically we offer whatever benefit may have come during the practice. We offer it to all beings. Every practice. Okie dokie, traditional Tibet. Also, oddly, it is a safety net. We can talk about that at another time if you want to. With a wish for all beings to be free, free of the contraction and constriction of held belief systems and thought patterns, free of the automatic reactivity of held and learned emotional patterns, and free of distorted perception. I will always go for refuge to alive, vibrant, spacious awareness until awareness is ongoing, like the flow of a river, enthused by wisdom and compassion. Today, in the presence of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of any time and any lineage or none, I generate the mind for full awakening. For the benefit of all beings. As long as space remains, as long as beings remain, may I manifest in such a way to ease and dispel the miseries in the universe. The last line, excuse me. Okay, try to leave some room there for you all, but I think we'll go forward. In this practice, well, okay, you know what? It's going to change a little bit today. What a surprise, yes? Today, with the, I would do it this way. If you can imagine open to whatever arises for you of imagining feeling from another, or if it opens in your heart, that's fine. This or that doesn't matter in this. But imagine feeling utterly unconditionally loved, a presence, and safe, protected. As you try that, to open to what that might feel like, you may have many sensations. There may be a sensation of, or an image that comes to mind that is a symbol for you of what might represent that complete unconditional love. There'd be no way to mess up that kind of love, no matter what you did. There's nothing you need to do to earn or deserve that love. Thus, it's called unconditional. We'll take a moment to do that. I will share my image that has come up many times. It's that of a mama bear being held in that furry body with those arms around me and those huge claws on the hands, ready to whack anything away that might be harmful to me. And the love is just obvious with that symbol for me. For you, any symbol may arise and it may change as you practice. It may be the symbol of Chenrezig, Kuan Yin, your teacher. If there is a sense of resistance or some thoughts such as, well, it doesn't exist, so why would I do this? Anything like that. Just let that be there. You don't have to get rid of it. And still, with your creative imagination, rest in what it might feel like if it were possible. And however that arises for you, perhaps it will arise differently where you notice that you feel unconditional love or have felt it for a moment, or another being, kitten, puppy, child. It's fresh in every moment, that kind of love. And it won't always be present. If you've had a child, you always love them, but that total openness is not always there when they've woken you up for the 10th time that night and they've barfed in your bed. Or they're a teenager and they're yelling at you for being an idiot. But underneath that are those moments of complete openness. I don't really have a word for that. Best we can do is unconditional, unlimited open-heartedness. There are times in each of our lives where there's been a moment, a glimpse, an instant where everything is open and you are a bodhisattva. You don't notice it because there's nobody really paying attention to, oh, look, I'm loving that, or it just doesn't open that way. Completely open. For some of us, it may be music, certain kinds of music that we can just rest into. For some of us, it might be being out in nature, maybe hiking a trail, sitting on the edge of a mountain, maybe at sunset, with a cold bottle of water, and something shifts and relaxes. So many different kinds of experiences for each of us allows that to open. As we rest into that, even if it's completely in our imagination, what the experience might feel like. We can visualize a 1,000-petaled lotus in our heart chakra, which is simply where we might start to experience that relaxation, open-heartedness, safety, No words will touch this. And we allow that experience, imaginary or recalled or present, right here in this moment. Taking a breath in, perhaps, letting our breath out. We allow it to fill that lotus, to nurture it, to water it, until it relaxes and opens completely into its full blossoming splendor. The lotus is the symbol used in this. Doesn't have to be what you use, because it grows from the absolute muck, the muddy, swampy, gooky bottom of the lake, bottom of the swamp, smelly, muddy stuff. And out of that rises this beautiful lotus, which is not affected by water thrown on it. It just, or wetness or mud, that just rolls off of it. And as that opens, we notice in the middle of those 1,000 petals, you may see a color, you may not, of the petals. Never saw that before. Anyway, in the center are 6 petals of different colors. These are all made of light. It's a lotus made of light. And there's 6 different colors in the center, 6 petals. And each of the petals holds a seed syllable of the mantra. The mantra being the sound of that open-hearted, safe, embracing, unconditional love. We'll do it together 3 times. If you have a mala and you want to bring it out, please feel most free. It is said that it holds the energy as you practice, so that when you need it, you can reach for your mala and it will help to support the practice. The mantra, when you're repeating it, allow it to rise from deep in your belly and feel the vibration of it all the way up through your heart, through your speech chakra, up through your crown chakra. Actually listen to the sound. If the mantra is the sound of that complete, unconditional, loving safety, safe love, then we can feel the vibration of it also. We can hear the sound of it. Not inside or outside. Rest in the hearing of it, where there is no place, no location that you can find the experience of that. Check that out for yourself. Let's say the 6 syllables. Om, ma, ni, pe, me, hum. If you have had this lung, it's called, before, and you've had it pronounced in different ways, it doesn't matter. It's the sound of unconditional. Om, mani, peme, hum, om. Mani Padme Hum. It is recommended to continue to say this mantra softly, if you would like, but making sure there is some air passing through your body, through your speech chakra, through your heart, and rising out loud. Be very quiet. Oh, Mani Padme Hum. And as we say this, the inner 6 petals start to turn. And as they represent all light, different aspects of light, like a rainbow, when light is shined through a prism, shows all the lights of the rainbow, none of them separate, simply reflections of the original light. These 6 inner petals represent all light. And as they start to turn, they blend together. And as happens organically with light, if all light is present, it becomes white. Not a white of like a spotlight, sharp, intense, bright, almost to hurt your eyes, but a soft light, perhaps with a slightly golden tone, warmth, a warm light, but not static. We know in our minds, our intellect, we've learned that that light are waveforms. And in this light that arises, you can sense, feel, notice the aliveness, the waves, almost like the light is sparkly. And that light in those 6 inner petals, that white light, causes the petals themselves to extend into rays of that white light. And as that happens, the entire lotus, all the 1,000 petals, are filled with that light. That sound also of the mantra, also in waves, until all the 1,000 petals extend into rays of this warm, vibrant, alive, radiant light. And they naturally shine out into the universe with no limitation, no limitation within time. You can reach into the past. If you encounter something of a past life experience that seems difficult for you, but difficult for that being that you may or may not have been, right there, those rays of light touch and heal in the present, in the future. Do you worry about your children growing up, your pet being afraid? Whatever fears you have of something in the future, you don't have to think of each one, but you can imagine without limitation that this light carrying the sounds of open-hearted, unconditional aliveness, vibrant light, love, reaches into the future, touching all the beings. There's no limitation on kind of being. Are you worried about the trees on earth? Things in nature. These rays of light, healing light, loving light, touch anywhere. Touch the trees in the Amazon. Are you worried about your health? Rays of light touch every single cell in your body, bringing healing, unconditional love. No limitation. As far as your imagination reaches, these rays of light reach to the edge of the universe, beyond the edge of the universe, to the multiverse. No limitation whatsoever. And as these rays, whether you visualize them or sense them, feel them, or actually have almost a tactile sense of them, a heart presence of them, a sound of them, all of it, however it arises for you. Is not held or contained, but simply shines out into the universe, touching 1,000 beings, allowing them to experience that unconditional, open-hearted embrace, allows them, each of the 1,000 beings, to completely relax for a moment, their lotus to open, their heart to relax, free of the self-protectiveness for a moment that we all carry. And the same thing happens. The 6 inner petals become clear white light, warm, vibrant, filling 1,000 petals, representing the heart of all beings. 1,000 petals that we've sent out touch 1,000 beings. Sorry, this 1,000 lights, rays, touch 1,000 beings and open so that 1,000 rays of light are touching 1,000 beings, allowing that moment of relaxation, of rest, of presence. And onward, 1,000 rays of light touching 1,000 beings, till you may have an experience of like a web, if you're visual, or it can be a sensory web, it can be a tactile web. The sound of the mantra radiating and intersecting between all the rays, some of which come back and nurture, touch your lotus again and again and again. Not the individuals, personalities, species, but simply the waves of true, open-hearted, unconditional, loving presence. The essence of all manifestation, all life, interconnected, If there's a hesitation to let those rays come back in and touch your heart again, on a hard day, allow those rays to touch all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of all time. And allow the rays from the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas that you've offered the rays in your heart to. Allow those rays to come back in and fill you. All beings are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Particularly human realm, we're simply confused. However you experience this sense, it's been described as the web of where there is a node of intersection. That little node is who we think is our individual self. And it can be seen as a weaving. This is the true nature, essence of what is called nirmanakaya. And we can rest right here as refuge. Beyond the thoughts, feelings, and perceptions that have arisen from our particular experiences in this form. Beyond the way we bounce off of each other and react to each other with all of those thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. Missing the essence of what's underneath that. We all do that. There is an experience where we can rest beyond that limitation. Not denying, not excluding. And there might be at times a sensation that opens our experience even more, filled with sadness, compassion, of how often we can't experience that deep essence of all life. And all of the beings that will never run into the circumstances or be able to recognize when that does occur. As we continue, and those rays of light just continue to grow, thousand rays of light touching 1,000 beings. And feel free to take the time when you practice on your own to really let that open in your imagination, everything you can imagine, until there are an infinite number of rays of light, touching an infinite number of beings. And there is no thing, no presence other than warm, radiant light the very essence of the spark of life. You can hold a prism in your hand, but without the spark of aliveness, without the radiant light that shines through the prism, there is no rainbow. There is no arising of all the infinite manifestations. It's a metaphor that only goes so far, because the light and the prism are never separate, and there are no limitations. The prism is the clear, spacious, non-dual essence of what we label Dharmakaya in this metaphor. The light that permeates the entirety of the spaciousness. The very light that we've embraced, sending out into the universe, being touched back until there is no thing but light. That very light is what we refer to as Sambhogakaya. Beyond the limitations of time and space. Always present. You are no thing other than what's called dancing stillness. Anything and everything manifests from that dance. As you do this practice, as you rest in here, you may be fortunate enough when everything is light to have a shift. Words won't go, sorry. There is no sense of looking at light because there is no arising but radiant light. From this experiential aspect of aliveness. Arises omniscience. Awareness is very present, but not self-awareness. Open awareness. You are the sound of the birds singing, not you. Very hard with words. Awareness is the worm crawling in the soil. Awareness is the sound of the water passing over the rocks in the creek. Or is it the rocks singing to the water? Refuge. With no one that needs to take refuge is the refuge that is always present. You are the refuge, not you personally. There may be a sensation that occurs of whoa, and a grabbing back to our personal identity. I don't want you to worry. Something will always pop us back into our personal identity. Whether we're hungry, we have to pee. As that back and forth may occur. Or even if you feel this personality looking at all the light, feeling all the light, but not actually all the light. Still a sense of self-awareness. If it arises to do, feel around for what is aware. What is sensing the awareness? If you fall completely in, which feels like a bit of luck, can't make it happen. There's nobody looking. It just is. Completely open. The word emptiness is so close to what we describe as a void that we so often miss, many of us. There is no void. Absolutely not. The emptiness refers to the lack of individual, independent existence of anything. If you're lucky enough to fall in as the light, as the awareness, there is no looker. There's no one saying, oh, look at that awareness. It isn't like that. It simply is. Beyond words, beyond description, unlimited, and utterly indescribable. Indescribable in the experience, which is utterly timeless, all of these descriptions won't be occurring in the experience. They're only what we look back at when we have our own self-focus return, our own self-awareness. And we go, oh, what the heck happened there? Oh, I wonder how long that was going on. What the heck was that? Not as the experience. Timeless. And the only words I've been able to come up with are like being the embracer, that activity, the energy of embracing, and the embraced with absolutely no separation. The three as one. No need to fix anything. No need to do anything. No need to protect anything. All manifestations arise and dissolve, have never left what comes to me as home, have never left that ocean, space, dance. There are no words. I'd also like the metaphor when like a wave. Imagine each wave out to sea arising, or breaking on the shore, and each wave is quite sure it's an individual. Silly when we look at it that way. And each wave simply arises from the movement within the ocean. If the ocean didn't move, there would be no waves. And they dissolve right back into the ocean. They were never separate. There's a Thich Nhat Hanh quote I just love that says, enlightenment for a wave is when it realizes it is water. Isn't that wonderful? Enlightenment for any being and don't think we don't fight it. We do. Is recognizing this form experientially, not in thought, helpful but not really useful, as an arising based on thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, not a one of which is true or real, simply reacting to our experiences, showing us the world through that lens, arising, changing, moving, and then dissolving. Right back in to the embrace of loving light, for lack of any better words. Never having been separate from that for one instant. That is one hell of a refuge. The deep irony and the heart of breaking our hearts open is to recognize in a moment, an instant, a glimpse, that the very thing that causes so much of our suffering, all of our suffering, pain happens. We're alive. Is our desire to protect this simple being that's arising. It won't keep us from dissolving. What it does keep us from is what we may experience in this practice, what may open. I have a quick story, and maybe then that's enough words for today. As a young man, I got to get to know his mother, which is a very, very loved young man. Is struggling always through his life, and yet a beacon for other young people. We're going through that crisis of growing up. Many of us just avoid that altogether. Good protective systems. Anyway, young people particularly, were so drawn to him. And last year, anniversary was 2 days ago, took his own life. He's very connected to his mother, and she to him. And whether you believe the specifics or the heart of what I'm going to say, it doesn't matter. She somehow is able to stay open and feels the presence of this light, embrace, through her son. Pretty remarkable. And she is open enough to share that it's almost as though she hears a download from him. Maybe not even almost as though. And who knows where that comes from? It does not matter. Allows her heart to stay open. And he said, we must somehow help people to recognize this light. He uses the word light. Where he's resting. Somehow, or the darkness overtakes us. The darkness is loud. It's loud in our world right now. So loud. Anger, conflict, rudeness beyond anything I've experienced in lots of years. Just cruelty, very loud. Will we, can we, without denying it, shutting it out, pretending people aren't hurt, pretending animals aren't hurt, pretending the earth isn't being hurt? Don't have to pretend anything. Without allowing that to destroy us in darkness. Can we follow the practices that open our heart, that allow us to see this is an instant in time on a tiny little piece of the universe? And have compassion for the suffering that that has created without holding that as being the whole. A fraction in time, a blip. Doesn't mean it's not painful. Everything and anything arises. If we don't find our path to recognize what does not come and go, where all of the manifestations arise and dissolve, as nothing but that light, that spaciousness, that non-duality. We'll end up in the fight of duality. Right, wrong, good, bad, fair, not fair. Reactive like pinballs in a pinball machine. Bam, somebody says something, we react. Bam, we react something. Bam, 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 bam. Not. The ultimate refuge is the refuge not particularly skillfully pointed at in this practice. It is you, every you, infinite you, infinite yous. You are the rock. You are the fish in the stream. In all time, you have been all things, all arisings. And then I can't help but smile, because without the intention for bodhicitta, perhaps the intention to be a bodhisattva, it opens. You can only smile at the little eyes that have a kind of pride. I want to be a bodhisattva. I want to be a hero. And that kind of touch your heart. It's not bad. I'm just drawn to those beautiful flowers that are representing Greg today. Can we together breathe in everything of this moment? Do we not spend so much of our time in our hopes and fears? Smart Tibetans. Fears developed from experiences in the past. Hopes that we won't have those experiences again. Wishing for what we think we want. Where's this flower? Where's the call of the bird right now? Where's the actual lack of solidity in your wall if you're in your room? Right here, right now. Leftwards. From the glimpse of the essence of all beings. Little blips in time arising, shaped by the stories and reactions to our experience, dissolving again back into the radiant embrace. Ooh. May we recognize as we dissolve in each moment until this form dissolves and is no longer a form. May we recognize where we arose from, what we really are, not just that form. And may we practice in whatever way that touches us so we do not forget and simply fall back into the darkness again, the confusion, the misunderstanding, and recycle again into the form that arises and is shaped by its experiences and the stories, thoughts, feelings, and perceptions about those experiences. May we, this lifetime, open our awareness to all that is, beyond the individual arisings. Made of no thing other than the spacious, radiant awareness, where all things arise as and from. Again and again, may we open our hearts. May we allow our hearts to be what they are. May all beings have such opportunities to experience the waves, the wave, in the spaciousness. So we find our way home until there is nothing, no thing, but form arising as light, dancing and dissolving. May there be no more isolation and separation and loneliness caused by our confusion, the confusion of all beings. And may all of us keep walking together. As always, I have such gratitude for your being here. So we get to create this all together. See you.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you all. And see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.